Hey everyone, welcome to my home kitchen. This week's genius recipe is for this incredible cake. A study in textures, fluffy middle, sugary crackly almond top, and crunchy cardamom seeds. It feels very fancy for how little effort it is to make. And camera person Mike is eating it all, so we should move fast.
I had one sliced almond.
You had more than one sliced almond. This week's recipe comes from Niloufer Ichaporia King and her cookbook, My Bombay Kitchen. And Niloufer first encountered this recipe at a potluck wedding celebration in 1987 in a Berkeley garden. Niloufer has made a few changes of her own that I will get into later in the video, but for now, I'll just say that if you like the sound of it so far, it's a good time to hit like and subscribe, and you will get legendary cakes like this one and all the other genius recipes we put out. The very first thing you do with this cake is make that crunchy bottom layer that is going to become the top layer. So the first thing you do is just scatter in some sugar. So I already buttered this pan really, really well because we're going to want this to be able to unmold beautifully at the end. So just tap this sugar all the way around so that all of the sugar sticks to that butter on the bottom and then along the sides too. Play the fun game where you try not to spill the sugar on your countertop. Living on the edge. Let's see. Okay, almost got it. All right, so that's pretty well coated. That's going to give this cake such an amazing crust on the outside and also help it release from the pan. And here are the almonds that are gonna go in the bottom. As you may have noticed, I didn't dump out any excess sugar. That's just gonna stay in the bottom and help candy these almonds. So other cakes like this might have you make a caramel on the stove top. This one is so simple. You just sprinkle in some sugar, sprinkle in some almonds, and it makes the most incredible texture on the top of the cake when you're done. If you wanna be really, really sure that this is going to unmold, you can do a circle of parchment in the bottom, but I'm just gonna take my chances. Also, I can be a little extra confident because this is a non-stick springform pan. Some springforms are not non-stick. Now we're going to make the cake batter. I do recommend that you use a stand mixer or a hand mixer if you have them, because this cake does not have chemical leaveners. It doesn't have baking powder or baking soda. All of the lightness and fluffiness and the leavening is coming from mechanical leavening, which means literally physically whipping in air. In this case, eggs and sugar to start. And you'll see it's very cool. It starts out with just looking kind of sludgy with the eggs and sugar, and it grows to 3 times its volume until you get to what's called the ribbon stage, but you'll see that when we get there. This is going to beat for about 5 minutes until it triples in volume. That is thick, pale, fluffy, tripled in volume. I should show you the star ingredient of this cake before I move on. It's cardamom. And a lot of times cardamom in recipes is ground, and in this case, it's not. These are the whole seeds. Usually they come in pods like this. And to get out the seeds, you just have to crack them open. You can either do it in a mortar and pestle and just kind of bash them until you can pry them open. Or if you don't have a mortar and pestle, you could do it with the back or the side of a knife, just enough to like crush them and pull those seeds out. I'll do one just so you can see. There. So you're getting the papery skin off and finding all those little seeds in there. But I am noticing more and more that cardamom seeds are just being sold like this, which is incredibly handy for a cake like this. So all we have to do is bruise them in a mortar and pestle, or again, if you don't have one, you could probably do it just like with the side of a knife, or maybe with a flat plate. You could kind of just like rock it on a cutting board until you've released some of that fragrance, but you're not grinding it. You're just bruising it enough to get out some of those aromas. So now that that's ready, the rest of the cake batter will come together really fast. All of this stuff gets folded in now, so I'm going to take it off the stand mixer. And first goes the flour, not the butter, which is pretty unusual. I haven't seen that before, I don't think. If you have, please let me know in the comments. Wow, look at all the air that's just kind of pillowing up on the sides. So that's some all-purpose flour, then just a big pinch of salt. Niloufer told me maybe even 2 pinches of salt. Salt's important and helpful to balance all that sugar. And okay, I'm gonna fold that in carefully so I don't lose too much of the air that I beat in. And it doesn't need to be completely incorporated because we're gonna fold a little bit more now. So here's my melted butter. This is something I really love about this recipe. You do not have to have the butter at a particular soft, creamable temperature like you do with so many other cake recipes. Because, you know, butter only at a certain temperature range will cream and fluff and get airy. In this recipe, you just take it straight out of the fridge, melt it on the stovetop, and fold it in. So there's my melted butter. Oh yeah, I was going to add all of my cardamom before I get too foldy. And as Niloufer told me, this looks like an unreasonable amount of spice, but it's not overpowering because it's all concentrated in these crunchy pockets. Whoa, there's a pocket of flour. Gotta get that worked in. All right, there were some serious secret pockets of flour in there, but I think I've done away with them, and this is ready to pour in. Just wanna make sure. I thought I spotted another lump, but no, I think it's just a bubble, which is why we're going to thump this batter a little bit just to get out any major bubbles and settle the batter. Oh yeah. All right, I think that's good. Now I'm just going to stick it in a 350-degree oven for about 30-35 minutes. We'll check it and we'll have cake. So I wanted to point out, this cookbook is really worth seeking out. It is Niloufer's cookbook, My Bombay Kitchen, and it is the first cookbook written by a Parsi author about Parsi food. I was also very lucky to get the chance to speak to Niloufer this week on the Genius Recipe Tapes podcast. So to hear more about her stories behind this cookbook and this cake, go check that out anywhere you get your podcasts. When the cake is done, it should be dry on top. It should spring back a little bit when you press it. So that needs to sit for 5 minutes just to settle a little bit, and then we will unmold it and see what it looks like. Rolling?
Rolling.
Okay, it's been 5 minutes. Going to loosen the edges. Actually, get my mitt on. Loosen the edges with a knife. Ooh, you can see all that sugar crusted on the edges. This is the exciting part. Okay, I heard it move. Let's see what happens. It's very pretty. It only lost a little bit off the side. I'm gonna eat that. I gotta wait to cut it though. Sorry, Mike.
Cut.
This has not cooled all the way, but I'm gonna cut into it anyway. We'll see what happens. You should let it cool all the way. I just wanna say for the record. But we are moving quickly today. Oh, look at that. Wow. Super fluffy. You can see the like crunchy cardamom seeds all scattered throughout. You can see this amazing tiled layer of toasted sugared almonds on top, and then the crust on the side too. And here, I'll give you a little peek inside the cake too. It would hold up better if it was not super hot out of the oven. But that's what the rest of the cake is for.
That's why Kristen's the bad girl with food.
This is so good. I love crackling down on not just this sugary almond topping, but those bursts of cardamom flavor, the kind of floral sweetness that comes out of that, contrasting with the super fluffy cake as well. It is a very special, memorable cake, and it will feel very celebratory, even though it was extremely easy to put together. I look forward to hearing from you in the comments, and I will see you in 2 weeks. We're gonna go eat the rest of this cake now.